Plants are an indispensable landscape element in cities. What feelings do you experience when you admire and capture beautiful urban scenes?
I think it's very beautiful. The plants are arranged at varying heights, like dancing musical notes.
Each picture is like a beautiful painting, full of poetic and picturesque quality. Teacher, how can we create such beautiful plant landscapes?
Plant landscape design in gardens is a combination of beauty created through artistic means. It is silent poetry, a three-dimensional painting. Today, we will learn how to use the principles of formal beauty to create exquisite plant landscapes. Common principles of formal beauty in plant landscape design include diversity and unity, contrast and harmony, rhythm and cadence, symmetry and balance, and proportion and scale.
Teacher, we have also studied these principles in other professional courses. Are there any differences?
The principles of formal beauty are the summary and abstraction of the rules of beauty that humanity has distilled through the process of creating beauty. The creation of plant landscapes follows universal aesthetic principles and has its own unique characteristics. First, let us study the first principle, diversity and unity. Diversity and unity involve organically combining various different form elements to harmonize them within the whole, reducing distinctions to achieve a coherent and unified form that incorporates change. In garden plant landscape design, the shapes, colors, lines, and textures should exhibit certain variations to display diversity, yet they must also maintain some similarities to evoke a sense of unity. Therefore, it is crucial to master the principle of seeking variety within unity and unity within variety. As shown in the image, the plant landscape uses Canary Island date palms of different heights as the main tree species, with mid-layer shrubs and ground-layer flowers and grasses, providing changes in color and volume. This creates a landscape that is both lively and harmoniously unified. Can you identify the unity and variety in this plant landscape elevation diagram?
From the legend, the plants on the lowest layer are all the same, while the trees and large shrubs with pink flowers above them show a regular pattern of variation.
Yes, this arrangement technique is often used in the configuration of roadside greenery. In actual creation, excessive unity can appear monotonous and boring, while too much variation can seem chaotic. The general principle is to have variation, but not chaos. To have order, but not monotony. Now let's look at the second principle of formal beauty: contrast and harmony. Contrast and harmony are among the important means of artistic composition. Contrast involves using two or more differing traits between elements to make their distinct characteristics more prominent, providing viewers with a fresh and exciting sensation. Harmony is achieved through the unity and coordination of layout forms and gardening materials, making the overall landscape effect harmonious. In garden composition, there is always a certain degree of difference between any two elements. When the degree of difference is significant, each characteristic becomes prominent, creating a stark contrast. When the difference is minimal, the landscape appears more gentle. In garden plant landscape design, the contrast in form and content often highlights the main subject, producing a strong artistic impact. There are mainly 6 types of contrast and harmony in garden plant landscape design. 1. Contrast and harmony of shapes. Using plants with similar or identical shapes. can achieve a harmonious appearance in plant groupings. However, complete similarity can appear monotonous and dull. As shown in Figure A, if the planted plants are of the same height and similar spherical shapes, the landscape effect is bland. In contrast, as shown in Figure B, using conical plants creates differences in shape, which enlivens the landscape effect by contrasting vertically and horizontally. 2. Contrast and harmony of volume. Volume refers to the physical size, thickness, and height differences among elements, with contrasts among plants enhancing each other. Which of these two elevation drawings do you think has a better landscape effect?
The plants in the upper elevation drawing are all the same height, making the facade effect too bland.
In the upper group, the plants differ in shape, but are the same size, resulting in a poor visual effect. In the lower group, the plants differ in shape and size, producing a better visual effect. Consider the contrast between palms and agaves. They have significant differences in volume, yet their leaf shapes and the posture of tropical scenery harmonize well. 3. Contrast and harmony of color. Red and green, yellow and purple, blue and orange are complementary colors, creating strong contrasts. Colors within the same color spectrum are easier to harmonize, such as yellow and orange yellow, red and orange red. In roadside greening, it is common to use red and yellow shrubs or flowers to create patterns against a green backdrop. The use of contrasting colors can enhance and emphasize the visual landscape, thereby attracting visitors' attention. For example, planting a spindle tree at a crossroads with its bright red autumn foliage creates a strong visual impact on visitors. 4. Contrast and harmony of space. The contrast between open and enclosed spaces. Moving from a closed forest to an open meadow can be refreshing. Going from open to enclosed spaces, deep and quiet. Skillfully using plants to create contrasting open and enclosed spaces can be captivating. In planting design plans, changes in the density of plants can create spaces that are either open or enclosed. Additionally, there is the contrast and harmony of solidity and void, such as in early spring. The pairing of deciduous and evergreen trees produces a contrast of solidity and void. Directional contrast and harmony, such as the sharp contrast between spire-shaped tree crowns and horizontal hedges. If harmony represents commonality, then contrast highlights individuality. Both are indispensable in landscape design. The third principle, rhythm and cadence. Rhythm involves regular repetition, while cadence refers to regular variations. In plant landscape design, regular, continuous changes can produce a sense of rhythm and cadence. In plant landscape design, the use of rhythm and cadence primarily includes simple rhythm, alternating rhythm, gradient rhythm, and undulating rhythm. Simple rhythm is created by the equidistant repetition of the same element. For example, trees of the same type are planted at equal distances along a roadside. Alternating rhythm involves the equidistant, repetitive alternation of two or more elements. For example, alternating plantings of peach trees and willow trees on a riverbank, or alternating patterns in a flower bed. Gradient rhythm involves regular, gradual increases or decreases in some aspect, such as gradually changing the size of plants or the intensity of colors. Undulating rhythm occurs when one or several elements exhibit regular undulating changes in appearance, such as changes in the tree canopy line caused by undulating terrain, or the arrangement simulating natural communities. The fourth principle, symmetry and balance. Symmetry refers to an arrangement where identical or similar objects are placed in opposite directions and positions relative to a central line. Balance is the psychological perception of symmetry or asymmetry. In terms of the sense of weight, plant landscapes can display either symmetrical or asymmetrical balance. Symmetrical balance is commonly used in formal gardens, where the composition of the garden has symmetrical geometric shapes, often giving a sense of orderly and dignified neatness. Asymmetrical balance lends a natural and vivid feeling to the landscape. In naturalistic gardens, plant landscapes typically exhibit asymmetrical balance. For example, if a large tree is planted to the left of a gazebo and a combination of small trees and shrubs is planted to the right, it gives a sense of balance. The fifth principle, proportion and scale. Proportion generally reflects the numerical relationship between the landscape and its components, without involving specific dimensions. Scale refers to the relationship between the actual size of an object related to humans and the perceived size of that object. Using humans as a reference, scale can be categorized into natural scale, oversized scale, and intimate scale. Changes in the scale of landscape features can evoke different spatial perceptions. The selection of scale should be based on functional requirements and aesthetic effects. For example, ancient Chinese private gardens are small-scale spaces, so they are paired with small, low plants, creating a cozy and warm atmosphere. Conversely, Tiananmen Square is an example of an oversized space. During the National Day celebrations, giant flower arrangements are used to decorate the square, giving it a grand and solemn appearance. The scale of garden plants changes over time, so designers should dynamically view plants and landscapes. They should anticipate scale changes due to plant growth at the design stage, and take measures to ensure the landscape remains visually appealing.
I understand now. There are 5 principles of formal beauty: diversity and unity, contrast and harmony, rhythm and cadence, symmetry and balance, and proportion and scale.
I understand when you explain it, but I still find it a bit difficult to analyze on my own.
Everyone, first grasp these 5 principles of formal beauty, observe and practice more, and initially use theory to guide your analysis of real-life effects. Then try to apply these principles to create excellent plant landscapes. That concludes today's lesson. Thank you for listening.